What's up, family? We have another Patreon request. We got some Hellfest, my favorite festival. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen many bands, not live, unfortunately, but videos of bands, various bands, all over the world bands, playing at Hellfest. And it does look like an insane environment. But anyway, let's check it out. I guess it's gonna be an explanation of Hellfest.
Hellfest Open Air, France's premier metal gathering, one of the biggest and best festivals in the world, and a festival that's held a special place in my blackened metal heart for many years now. Located in the small and quite charming town of Clisson, France, every June the gates of hell open to welcome around 60,000 metalheads per day into this amusement park of heavy metal culture. 6 stages, 200 bands, from the most current underground to those oldies your dad would play in the car while picking you up from school. Metal games, metal wrestling, metal Ferris wheels, metal zip lines over the crowd, metal bars with big metal sculptures, metal shopping, metal tattoos, a big-ass metal shrine of the godfather of heavy metal, and it's even got a heavy metal fucking forest. Being at Hellfest feels a bit like being at Universal Studios if it were taken over by an army of headbangers in black shirts who all happen to speak French. Every year, Hellfest features one of the most impressive lineups on the festival circuit, and no matter what genres you like, you'll never find a dull moment here. There's so many bands playing here that you'll find it difficult finding time to eat food between sets. Good thing beer has calories in it, though. C'est la vie! I first attended Hellfest in 2008, and I'm not exaggerating when I say it changed my life forever. It was my first multi-day festival and introduced me to a whole nother side of the metal subculture. Back then, Hellfest was much smaller, consisting of 3 stages and being headlined by the likes of Venom, Helloween, and Slayer probably being the biggest band on the bill. Even then, Hellfest featured an impressive lineup of underground bands from every subgenre and was building a name for itself in the metal world. But it was still considered a relatively small festival and wasn't on the scale of something like Wacken or Download. Still, it was a moment that I will never forget. It introduced me to a whole world of bands I had yet to discover, and it began my obsession with heavy metal festivals. I returned to Hellfest in 2009, 2010, 2016, and 2019.
Damn, I guess this guy really did like it.
And over those years, I've seen it grow from a modest but awesome weekend metal hangout to becoming one of the top metal attractions out there, now cementing itself as one of the biggest music festivals in the entire world. Ooh. The initial 3 stages have now grown to 6. 6 stages with metal bands playing throughout now 4 days of pure metal ecstasy. 4 of those stages are dedicated to specific genres, so if you're too drunk to remember who's playing, but you know you like death metal, you can just go stumbling to the death metal stage and there you go. Are you a Scandinavian black metaler who's allergic to the French sun and hot weather? Then you'll want to post up at the black metal stage, which smartly blocks out the sun. Are you stoned and enjoy listening to one riff for 45 minutes? Guess what? There's a doom stage. Are you a punk who has a bunch of metal friends you want to party with for a few days and you wouldn't mind seeing Obituary? Well, fear not, because there's an entire stage just for you with legends of the punk and hardcore scenes playing throughout the whole weekend. No matter who you are, no matter what genre you like, Hellfest has got you covered. The 2 main stages are reserved for the biggest bands no matter their genre. Typically, it is more hard rock and mainstream earlier in the day, but you get a good variety here, and having different types of bands on these stages can make some awesome experiences.
The crowd is just the crowd. I've seen the crowds. They're like this. They're exactly like this.
Like in 2019 when Leonard Skinner played right before
Leonard
Lamb of
Skinner.
God.
Look at that.
This next song is for all of you people. It is for Leonard Skinner, who played right before us. That was special for us to hear them over there. We're from the South. It's a big moment for us.
Or how about 2016, when back-to-back it went Amon Amarth, then Slayer, then Ghost, then Black Sabbath, then King Diamond. That was a damn good day. No matter what bands you like, Hellfest has got more than enough to keep you busy. And it's so easy to see so many bands here, you're going to discover some new favorites.
That guy had a mask on, right? I'm just saying, like, that dude had a mask on, right?
Enough to keep you busy. And it's so...
That might not be a mask.
Easy to see so many bands here, you're going to discover some new favorites. Hellfest is a place where you can get the chance to check out bands you only know from their hits or have heard in passing. They get a good amount of legacy acts for the older souls, and it's pretty sweet to be like, hey, I've got 30 minutes to spare, and there's ZZ Top. I like Sharp Dressed Man. Let's check it out. And next thing you know, you're seeing an amazing show from a band that's 60 years old.
Wow.
Of course, you shouldn't just stay at one stage the entire day. You should explore. And
I
at
had
Hellfest,
totally
you can
forgotten
very
about them.
quickly see a diverse array of artists. I remember in 2019, I went from that ZZ Top show right to see the Addicts, one of my favorite bands, followed right by Bloodbath and then Sisters of Mercy. Where else can you get a lineup like that in 5 hours?
Oh
Only
my
in
God.
hell.
Only
which is
in hell.
France. There's so many bands playing Hellfest that you'll see bands while you're on the way to go see other bands. One year I was watching Abbott and went to go get a beer, and while in line waiting for my drink, I had a clear view of the Offspring and got to enjoy a couple of their songs before going back to the Abbott show. As a matter of fact, the 200 bands that are officially announced on the lineup aren't even all of the bands that are actually playing. Aside from the 6 stages in the field area, Hellfest has several more smaller stages spread throughout the campground and metal market where smaller, more local French bands play. So when you need a break from watching bands, you can take a moment to watch more bands. In fact, about a 10-minute walk from Hellfest, there's a big grocery store that isn't part of Hellfest. It's just a normal grocery store that's there all year round. And guess what? In their parking lot, there's a stage with bands playing. So you can watch bands while at the grocery store, then bring your beer back to your tent and watch another band in the metal market before going into Hellfest and watching the officially announced bands. There's so much going on at Hellfest, I'm surprised they don't have local thrash bands playing in the bathroom while you take a shit. But the amount of bands playing isn't the only thing that's impressive about Hellfest. They invest as much into their infrastructure as they do booking bands, and it definitely shows. Hellfest no longer feels like a standard festival with a couple stages set up in an empty field. It's become an entire city of metal. It's got street signs, clothing stores.
This reminds me of like DEF CON 1. You ever hear, you've seen the hard music, hard dance, DEF CON. But this is the metal version.
Tattoo shops, awesome bars that are far more than just some drunk French guy in the corner pouring you over.
The chandelier had bones hanging.
For price beer. Some of the bars themselves have epic sculptures and entertainment of their own. Hellfest really goes above and beyond in making you feel like you're not just at a concert, but on an entirely different planet that's a strange mix of Blade Runner, Mad Max, and heavy metal. Hell City Square is the...
Had a little phone call interruption there, had to pause that real quick. All right, let's go.
Center of the festival, between the stages and the campground. And when you're not rushing between sets, it's a pretty great place to hang out, meet people, watch some wrestling or sexy fire dancers. Hellfest has such a design to it that if you have the time, I recommend walking around and just checking out everything. Next to that is this sort of medieval area known as the Metal Corner. And this is a sort of extension of the campground. Here you can find some metal games, more food, bars of course. Oh, and look at that, more stages. This area is mostly for the people camping at the festival, as this is where the showers, early morning/late night food options, and after parties are. When bands on the official stages end for the night, the party moves here, where bands and DJs keep the crowds dancing and drinking till the sun comes up. It's a pretty sweet place to hang out.
All-nighters,
and they even have a screen playing the World Cup matches if it's going on at the time. This is also where the Hellfest VIP Lounge is located, with its own separate bar, pool, sculptures, shade, bands, and even a blood fountain. It costs extra to enter here, and I'd love to tell you more about it, but I've never been in there, so we're moving on.
Did I just do some deja vu there? Like, I could have sworn he just showed all that.
Hellfest is one of those festivals with a giant campground where most attendees stay in tents the whole time, which is included in your ticket for free. The Hellfest campground is an insane place where some of the most savage metal debauchery takes place. The campground at any festival is a wild place, but the French seem to be particularly fond of shopping cart wrestling and dumpster jousting.
What the français?
As this happens in the campground every single night,
Damn.
and is very entertaining. The Hellfest campground has grown so much over time, it even has its own market now, so you can refill your supplies without having to trudge your way all the way to town. Most people bring their own tents and set up everything themselves, but if you're a simpler person who maybe doesn't want to have a bunch of drunk metalheads screaming in your ears all night, there are options for you. Hellfest offers an easy camp area where for an extra charge they will set up a tent for you and provide the basic supplies you'll need. These areas are usually much more quiet and tame compared to the rest of the campground, and it's a great perk to not have to haul and set up all your shit. One of the options Hellfest offers is these teepees that seem quite nice and spacious. But if you don't want to live like a human...
What is that? A cardboard?
Camping for the weekend and you want to pretend like you're a dog missing your little shed in your backyard, then you can rent one of these cart tent things, which is just a cardboard box on a pallet with what seems like an old military mat to sleep on. I've never used these, so I can't give any personal feedback, But I did find these videos. So, yeah, you might want to just bring your own tent.
It's the ghetto section. The ghetto section. When you run out of money, you spend all your money on liquor and weed. You're like, damn, we forgot about where we're sleeping. So you go to that section. I got it.
If you don't want to camp at all, there are hotels nearby, and Hellfest offers shuttles to many of them, which can be found on their website.
Well, that's cool. That's like Hershey Park, yeah.
Having brought up the cardboard cart tent things, let's talk about some of the things about Hellfest that suck. Because no matter how fucking awesome Hellfest is, no festival is perfect, and I'd rather you know these ahead of time so you know what to expect.
See, this is a good video. The good and the bad.
The most obvious one being that, given the size of Hellfest, you might have noticed that there's a lot of fucking people there.
And how are you going to the bathroom?
Hellfest is crowded, and no matter what you're on your way to do, you're gonna have to make your way through an ocean of black t-shirts. It's not impossible to get around, and you'll get adjusted to it probably on the second day, but if you're going to a stage that's across the festival from where you are, it can take a while to get there. It's a lot of walking, standing, and maneuvering through people. And unless you're in your tent or in the bathroom, you're pretty much always going to have people near you. And if you're at the stages but need something from your tent, that is an adventure you may want to give yourself about an hour for, if not longer. Another aspect of Hellfest that's off-putting for many is that for some reason, I don't know why, I don't know if it's the combined energy of that many metal bands screaming about Satan at the same time, but Hellfest often takes place during a record-breaking heat wave in France.
Yeah.
French officials urge caution as a pre-summer heatwave sweeps across the country, causing worries over severe droughts and forest fires.
But such an early and intense heatwave in June has never been experienced before.
It's just going to get worse, people.
It can get pretty hot at Hellfest, especially for underground metalheads who only see the sun for 2 weeks out of the year.
And who wear all black, which intensifies the heat.
It often reaches about 40 degrees Celsius. That's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit for all the Americans watching. And when you're running around headbanging and drinking all day, yeah, it can get a bit rough. Thankfully, Hellfest does have a lot of fountains, mist areas, and shade like in their forest. And these can be absolute lifesavers, believe me. I especially like this lounge area that has misters spraying cold water at you the whole time. And the Hellfest waterfall is great to walk through between sets in the afternoon. It's not always this hot, as you can tell from the car tent video. But out of my 5 times at Hellfest, I've experienced very little rain and mostly boiling sun. And a quick tip for everyone, but the 2 main stages offer the least amount of shade and have cement ground, and this is where battling against the giant ball of fire in the sky can be most difficult. Just remember, your body also needs water and not just beer.
What do you mean booze ain't food? I'd rather chop off my ding dong than admit that.
With the lineup as stacked as it is, I'm sure you're going to want to see every single band, but unfortunately, that is just not possible. With 200 bands playing on 6 stages, there just isn't enough time to have every band play while no one else is on. Hellfest usually has 2 or 3 bands playing at all times, and if 2 of your favorites are scheduled at the same time, then you're going to have to choose who you want to see more. Every year, there's some brutal clashes on.
We all know that one, right? We all know those hold up, let me just confirm, but I know who that is. That could only be Till Lindemann.
You're gonna have to choose.
That's Rammstein. Yep.
Choose who you want to see more. Every year there's some brutal clashes on the lineup, forcing fans to choose between bands. I can't really blame the Hellfest crew here, as I can't really see any other way of doing a lineup this massive. And no matter what, you'll never make everyone happy with the schedule. But it can suck to have to choose between seeing either King Diamond or Gojira, since they played at the exact same time in 2019. I do think the Hellfest team does their best to not clash bands they know most people want to see, but still, there's often some difficult decisions to make when planning your schedule. But those are the only real downsides to the festival that I've experienced, and a lot of that can't really be blamed on the organizers.
No, it's heat. It's Mother Nature.
And actually, they seem to be one of the most professional and organized festival teams out there. Despite its massive size, Hellfest still feels like it's run by fans of metal who want other metalheads to have the best time of their lives.
But he didn't say one thing about the bathrooms. He mentioned bathrooms. But I would think going to the bathroom is a problem in a place like this. How many people are just wearing diapers? You know what I mean? Because, well, you know what? If you're cooking in the sun, everything that you're drinking is just evaporating off you anyway. So maybe you don't have to go to the bathroom as often as I think. But, I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. If you are in the middle of this and you realize, uh-oh, I think a number 2 is coming. Good luck. You're in trouble. You are in big trouble if you ask me. Just saying. To me, that would be a negative in an atmosphere like this. That would be a big negative. Like, yeah, you got to take a shit, and you in the middle of this.
It doesn't feel like a corporate ploy to drain as much money from you as possible just to see a few bands. It does feel like a giant celebration of metal culture, just a very big and crowded one. During the pandemic years,
what did that guy
when
do?
Hellfest was canceled 2 years in a row, they could have done what every other festival did and just held on to the same lineup for 2 years. But Hellfest isn't every other festival, and they said fuck that. For the 2022 edition, Hellfest not only held on to their previously announced lineup, but they added on another 4 entire days of bands. That is 7 days of Hellfest.
Wow.
That is crazy. But Hellfest wanted to have a comeback.
Sabaton. Man, they're all there. Metallica, Scorpions. There's a lot of good bands here, people. A lot of good. Megadeth. Alice Cooper. I can't see half of these because my eyes suck. Merciful Fate. I can't read it. Suicidal Tendencies. Oh my God. I haven't heard that since 90s. The 90s maybe is the last time I've listened to a Suicidal Tendency tape. It was a cassette tape back then.
To be remembered and
Wow.
give fans the ultimate metal festival to make up for the last 2
White
years.
Snake.
And that to me says that they care about the fan experience. Hellfest has been an important part of my life as a metalhead, and it makes me happy to see how successful it's become. It's introduced me to hundreds of bands I didn't know before and let me see countless incredible shows. I saw Black Sabbath's last show in France here. I saw Slayer's last show in France here and almost died in that mosh pit. I first saw Bloodbath at Hellfest. I've gotten to spend time in the beautiful French countryside
Look how beautiful that is.
because of Hellfest. Not to mention the friends I've made and the crazy stories along the way. More than that, though, Hellfest has given me something much more than live shows and hangovers, but a sense of belonging and freedom. You'll never feel more free from society than at a metal festival. And
I have a feeling you guys have a rule that's like whatever happens at Hellfest stays in Hellfest. You know what I'm saying? We have an expression like that about like Las Vegas. You know, whatever happens at Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. You never mention it again. Is it the same with Hellfest? Like, oh, whatever. Remember that time in Hellfest? Nope. Shh. That stays in Hellfest. You don't bring that up anywhere else. I just have that feeling.
in dark times, Hellfest gave me something powerful to look forward to. It really did change the trajectory of my life, and even though I've been to other festivals, this one will always be a special place for me. And even taking my own bias out of it, it's clear that Hellfest still stands as one of the best heavy metal events in the entire world. It's a must for any metalhead, and it's the ultimate way to see as many bands as possible. And that is the end of my Hellfest video. If you enjoyed it, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe for more.
Ronnie. There goes Ronnie. He just did a crazy song called All My Women. Oh, that was good too. Wow. This really does seem like an amazing
metal festival content. Have you ever been to Hellfest? I'd love to hear some of your stories in the comments below.
Oh, I noticed some of the viewers that I know have definitely been to Hellfest.
Are you planning on attending Hellfest and have any questions? Be sure to post them. Anyway, that's it for now, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Sick. Good video, man. Explained it perfectly. That was really good. Really good. It really gives you an idea how massive it is. I knew it was big, but not that big. I mean, like I said, this is like, I could compare this to the DEF CON yearly, show that they put on, which is massive. This looks like it's just grown to that size. Crazy. What's the other place though? So there's another place where I've seen bands play, which looked huge as well. And they always have like a bull and the horns are all like on fire, and it's like a symbol of wherever everybody's playing. It's always the bull with the horns. You know what I'm talking about? I know you guys know what I'm talking about. That also seems like another monster place where bands gather to play. But Hellfest in France, baby. You get to eat some baguettes. You get to eat some foie gras. You get to have the best wine. You have a nice pain au chocolat, right? while you're just chilling out waiting for the next band, or I don't know. But it's like the perfect mix. It's the perfect mix. You got heavy metal in France, man. What more do you need other than, killing each other with shopping carts and bashing into each other? Remember, keep fingers and hands inside the cart at all times, because you will lose fingers if you do that. I'm just saying. Okay, anyway, Hellfest, my favorite festival. I can see why, brother. I can see why. It really does look like a special place, a special event to visit, for sure. Take care. Peace out. Have a good night.